Okay, today we're going to make really easy to do apple turnover puff pastries. You see I already have my pan hot. I've had it over here for a couple minutes on a really low heat. And I'm going to keep it on a low heat, just get my butter melted a little bit. And this is a couple tablespoons, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and half a teaspoon of vanilla. This is 2 cups of chopped apples. Granny Smith, in my opinion, would probably taste best and work best. They have a sturdier structure. What I have here are Honey Bells, which is probably not the best apple for this, but you know, it'll work. Basically what we're doing here is cooking down the apples with the butter and sugar. See how it makes caramel? And along with the spices. And the spices here are a half teaspoon of cinnamon, a half teaspoon of apple pie spice mixture, which is cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice. Another spice you could use to zip it up would be ginger, some orange liqueur, like a little bit of orange liqueur in this would also taste delicious. And what we're going to do is cook these apples down 5 to 10 minutes, just until they start to get soft. And we are going to let those cook, and we're going to go on to the next task while we are letting these cook. Okay, so what we have here are puff pastry sheets, and these frozen ones are great. So basically what you need to do is take them out of the package. There's 2 in a box, and the recipe that I'm doing calls for all of it. And after it's been sitting for a while, now it's already been outside of the freezer for about 15 minutes. It's getting to the point where I can now unfold it. See, if I would have tried to do this even 5 minutes ago, it would have broke. I wouldn't have been able to do that. And then we're going to cut these pastry sheets into 9 semi-equal squares. We're going to do that for the top and the bottom. And we've preheated the oven at 375. Okay, so we're going to do this all around the edges. One, it's going to make it look cute, plus it will help it stick together better. I already made an egg wash. Sorry guys, I know I got out of the picture there. The apples are still cooking. You want to cook those down just until they are a little bit tender, because once these go in the oven, they don't take long. I believe 10 minutes, so it's not enough. It doesn't give you enough time for the apples to cook down like they would inside a pie. That's why you have to partially cook the apples before you do this. It just turns out better. And then on the top, there's different ways you can top it, you know, and you can also add walnuts to that mixture too, the little apple pie mixture. It doesn't have to just be apples. You can dress it up however you want, raisins, you know, whatever you like. And then for the top, I am going to make a frosting, like a typical powdered sugar frosting, but I'm going to make it with a little bit of half and half, some powdered sugar, and some maple syrup. Alright, so the apples are done cooking. I just have them cooling right now. This mess is actually an upside down bottle of Ghirardelli caramel. You can also make your own homemade caramel, but I had this handy, and I'm lazy, so that's what I'm using. Okay, so this is like 4 heaping tablespoons of powdered sugar, and then I'm just going to mix some half and half and some dark maple syrup in there to taste. I'll probably start off with a tablespoon of the half and half and maybe half a tablespoon of the dark maple syrup. So what I did was 2 tablespoons of the half and half, and like I said, like four tablespoons of powdered sugar, and I ended up doing a full teaspoon of the maple syrup. Sorry guys, I get distracted very easily. So basically what I'm looking for is just to melt down the powdered sugar. I just want like a thin glaze. If it's too thin, just add more powdered sugar, and if it's too thick, just add a little bit of half and half at a time until you get the amount and the consistency that you want. Very, very forgiving. Okay, so here is the apple mixture. It's been sitting for a minute. I let it cool down because I don't want it to start cooking the puff pastry, you know, as soon as I put it on there. I wanted to cool it down a little bit. So I have a little scoop here, and you see I made the little squares on each puff pastry, and I'm just going to take a scoop of the apple mixture, put it right in the center, and put a little bit of caramel on there. Just a tiny amount. Like that. And then I'm going to put the other puff pastry, or another puff pastry, on top and seal that up by pinching the edges. If the edges don't want to stick, what you can do, this here is water. Have a little bowl of water handy, and if you put a little water on the edge of the pastry, it'll stick together better. And you repeat this process until you have all 9 of your pastries put together. Okay, now we're just gonna cover it with an egg wash. It's just 1 egg that's been whipped up real good. And sorry, just seeing if I was recording. Just gonna go over the tops. And then after this is done, they go into the oven, and they will bake in the oven at 375 for about 20 minutes. The full recipe will be either pinned in the comments or in the description. Okay, so there they are. Some have caramel drizzle, some have frosting drizzle. I'm going to cut one in half to show you the center. There we go. So you see it's light and fluffy, and it has the apple filling in the middle. And you now have a nice warm apple tart, and if you want to, you can serve it with a little bit of vanilla ice cream, and it's like a little miniature apple pie. All right, thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. Like I said, the recipe will either be pinned in the comments or it will be in the description. Thanks. See you next time. Bye.